Hello YouTube. I gave you a couple weeks because I'm trying to space out my reviews because I don't know when it'll be before I get another one to you. But I still got this shoe and one more for you, but today I've got the Air Max 360 BB Low, which is a low top 360 Air Max basketball shoe. So it's kind of an odd combination because, for one, when you think of low tops, you think of not only having the low ankle, but you think of having the low profile. And Air Max isn't exactly the low profile that most people are used to. When you think low profile, you think of Zoom, and this is Air Max, which is more for the forte of big people. So this is a little bit of a change, but I wanted to give it a try because I really like low tops, and I know that Air Max is comfortable. But I found some interesting things about it, so I'm going to explain that to you in the review today, which of course may not all be the same for all people. So I had a friend wear this shoe also, and I'll tell you what he thought of it, because we thought very differently about the shoe. But here it is from all angles. There's the front of it, and I do have these laced all the way up. I always lace up all my shoes because I don't want to compromise any kind of support that I might have gotten or lost by not lacing the shoe up all the way. Let me just tell you about it first before I tell you what I think. Of course, it has the same traction pattern as most of the Air Max basketball shoes. The Air Max Hyperdunk 2011, the Air Max Hyperdunk 2010, both feature this same design, as well as the there's a sportswear Air Max shoe that's also about the Air Max Sensation, also has this traction pattern. Of course, in the sole, you see that you have full 360 Air Max, and it's got a thin layer of Phylon above it, or I believe it's Cushlon, in fact, for a little extra support. When you move to the upper, with the back, it has a rather small heel cup. This is a fairly small heel cup. It's not a very large one. It's the smallest heel cup I've seen, and it does have a contoured ankle. If you see, it does slide back some so that the back of your heel can slide in there. So that is good. But I'll be getting into more of the performance of it after I tell you about just the structure of it. It has fly wire on both sides, more so, of course, on the outside where most of your pivots would be. When you slide around the corner and you pivot, you put a lot of pressure on the outside of the shoe, so that's why you have a lot of your structure on the outside. But it has fly wire almost full length on the lateral side, and on the medial side you just have this strip that would go across, of course, about the arch section of your foot. As far as the ankle goes, I like the ankle, really. I like it a lot. It has a cushioned ankle, thinly cushioned. It's not too fat, but it's just right, I think. And I never like thin, flimsy tongues, and I really like this ankle. I like the stiffer tongues because they hold down your foot a little bit better. And this has I think it's a nubuck covered tongue, so it's got a little bit of structure to it. And on the inside it's also padded, but on the front it has a nubuck, which gives it some structure, and it's not very flimsy. You know, it's got a little bit of resistance to it, so it does have a very good lockdown on the ankle. The tongue is about the mesh you're seeing in all the basketball shoes now. It's the traditional mesh. But as far as breathability goes, it's okay. Again, I'm not going to get into performance just yet. It does have these little sections. I mean, you can see it has that traditional flywire skin, which is sort of like, it feels really smooth. Doesn't really make any noise, but it feels strong. It's the same kind of skin that you would have seen in the Zoom Kobe 4 or the Hyperize, whichever one you might have had. It's the same kind of outside, but it does have these new, it's like a thin mesh window with some breathability holes in the mesh window. It almost reminds me of Hyperfuse, because if you were to look at it in this perspective, This inner layer would be the inside layer, of course. This would be the outside structural layer, and this mesh, because these holes aren't tangible, it's got a layer of mesh over it. That's 3 layers: the mesh, the inside, and the outside layer. So this is almost like a hyperfuse, but it doesn't say it has hyperfuse on its description, but it's almost the same. And of course it has those right here and right here as well on the medial side. And on the lateral side, I believe it also has it up here around the collar. So, I mean, they threw in a few details in there for breathability, which is nice, and I'm sure it cut down on weight a little bit. The rest of the shoe on the upper is, I believe it's also nubuck, the same as the tongue. So it's got a stiffness and rigidness to it, which I like because I don't like really flimsy shoes. I don't like them too stiff. I like them somewhat flimsible, or flimsy, but I also like them to have some structure to them. And this is like the perfect balance. This shoe is almost perfect, but it has one humongous downfall, and that is my biggest disappointment about the shoe, and it's what I'm going to start with. The traction on this shoe, I don't know if it's the rubber they use, because I've seen this traction pattern used before, and it's done fine, but this is not the normal rubber. This isn't the usual rubber, and it doesn't grip as well. In fact, this is the worst traction I've ever had in a basketball shoe. Contrary to that, my friend wore this shoe and he says it has good traction, but to me, it is by far the worst traction I've ever seen or experienced, I guess you would say. But when I was playing in it, it would just slide. I've worn these shoes about 10 times now, and I haven't gotten them to squeak on a wooden floor yet. They do not squeak. They just slide. And I have a theory about why that is. Because if you think about it, on other shoes, you get your traction. Think about it. You get it from pushing down on one spot really hard, and that's of course a pressure point on the floor where you have the rubber touching the floor. You have that really strong dig, and that's why you have these pivot circles, because that's mainly where you get all that pressure is on the ball of your forefoot. But the Air Max is a cushioning unit, and while that's clever for comfort, I never thought of it this way, but it disperses pressure. So when you step down on your heel, it's spreading your landing out almost the length of the shoe probably. And when you're landing on the front of your foot, like making cuts, it's spreading that little hit out, your pressure point out so wide that you don't have a pressure point to give you traction. So while it is good for cushioning, it cuts it down on traction, and that's why you hear a lot of people saying, like, guards, they want zoom, and I believe this is the reason why, because this is my first full-length Air Max basketball shoe, and this problem is big. I mean, honestly, I love the comfort of these shoes, but I don't even wear them anymore because of how bad the traction is on them. Even when I'm just wearing them to run my laps in the gym, going up and down the court, suicides, it's even difficult for those, because when you have to stop and turn around, you almost waste energy by sliding, and you have to kind of put on the brakes a few feet before you would have normally had to have done so. So honestly, this shoe is almost kind of useless to me. So traction, I honestly, out of a 10, I might give it like a 4 or a 5. It's terrible. But my friend says it done better for him. But the thing is, my friend weighs more than I do, and I'm thinking because he has more weight, he can put down more pressure per square inch. And maybe that's why he can get traction out of it. So he says it's good. Me personally, I would have given it like a 4 or 5. Moving on to the other things about it, cushioning is amazing. It's a 10. It's just like the Air Max running shoes I have in a basketball shoe. It's full length. It's plush. You almost don't even feel it when you go up for a board and you come down on these and you hit the ground. It's just like landing on a pillow almost. It's pretty soft. It's not really all that responsive. The description of Nike Air Max, they say it's the ultimate in cushioning while it's also responsive. It's not really that responsive. If you want something responsive, do not get Air Max unless it's just Air Max in the heel, because of course you do make your cuts on your toes, not on your heels. So it's okay to have an Air Max Zoom combo, like a lot of Jordan models do. That's why I really like Jordan shoes. They have the Air Max in the heel, so when you're running or you come down for a board, you have that that cushioning. But when you're making your cuts, you still have the low profile Zoom, which is my favorite combination. Is the Air Max Zoom combination. I really like that. So that's probably why I like Jordans. I need to get more Jordans. Just can't financially right now, but I'd like to get me some more Jordans. But moving on with the rest of the upper, the lockdown in the heel, it's really good. I actually like it because it has the cushioned collar. It has the recessed heel. It does have a heel cup, even though it's not very large. The back of this heel is very rigid because it's nubuck structuring, which is very stiff and rigid. And so it's almost like, even though you have a plastic heel cup right here, it's kind of like you have also a medium grade heel cup in the rest of this with the firm nubuck. And the tongue, it's one of the best tongues on a basketball shoe I've ever had, because it's rigid, but it's also soft on the inside, rigid and soft, so it's got the support and the comfort. Another thing I like about this shoe, it has the inner sleeve. Even though the shoe has really bad traction and it killed it for me, I'm not going to dog it about everything else. I mean, honestly, being honest, it's got a lot of other great attributes. For instance, you know, the heel lockdown. Another thing is the overall forefoot lockdown, the upper. It's really good with this flywire and nubuck combination. It's really nice, and the fit of the shoe is great. Like, this is one of the best fitting shoes I've ever had. It looks a little narrow, but that is because my screen, I don't know why my camera is all of a sudden in widescreen mode. If you see, it's a little bit wider here than it would be if I turned it sideways. It's like I'm squishing the shoe, but it does have a normal width to it. It's very nice, and the shoe looks really sharp. I mean, check it out. It's got a lot of nice touches to it. Not really any that it's kind of like what Jordan says. What he likes to do with his shoes is he likes to combine the aesthetics with the performance, and there's not really anything that's just strictly aesthetic on this, but at the same time it still looks really nice. I like this shoe a lot, and I'll probably still wear it for like casual, and even though it's still a basketball shoe, so I could wear this casually, and if anyone ever wanted to play me in basketball, heck, I got a pair of basketball sneaks on and I'll play them. So it's not a bad shoe. I'm still glad I got it. I picked it up for a really low price on Finish Line, I believe. These retail for $140, and I got them for $60, which was a steal. $60, and the lockdown on them is great. Heel lockdown, great. Heel comfort, great. The breathability, it's pretty good. It's not as good as, you know, Hyperfuse or anything, but it's really good. It's got a breathable tongue, and it does have these little extra touches for breathability. So it's an overall really nice shoe. Just the traction just killed it for me. I was expecting the shoe to be one of my favorites, but after sliding around in them so much and getting frustrated, coming around screens and slipping, I was done with it. I put it in the closet and went back to my Kobe's. But it's overall, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's really good. Casually, it's still a very comfortable shoe. This shoe is probably, honestly, more comfortable than a lot of your casual Nikes. It's really comfortable. It has no traction, unless I guess you weigh a lot. I mean, my friend, it worked for him, but it just didn't work for me. Also, I don't know what this is. I believe this is to protect your toes, but if you can see it with the shadow, it has a little bit of something else going on in that toe. Like right there, if you can see that vague outline right here. I don't know what that is. I believe that's just to give it a little bit. It feels like a very thin thing of cardboard, and I believe that's just to give your toe some structure. But anyways, that's my review on the Air Max 360 BB Low. I've got another review that I'll be doing in about another week. But I was thinking about doing some other videos for basketball fans, because a lot of people ask me about basketball questions. So I was thinking about getting a friend, taking the camera down to the gym, and doing some basketball tutorial videos, a couple on maybe post moves and maybe any other things that I decided to do. So if you guys think that would be pretty cool, let me know what you think right below, because I'm thinking about doing it, but I don't really want to do it without any support. Also, speaking of support, thank you to all my subscribers and everyone that's been supporting me, the likes, the positive feedback. I appreciate all you guys. I'd like to give a shout out to people, but I can't really remember any names off the back. I mean, I just have my subscribers, and no one's really asked me personally for a shout out, but I'll probably start doing them for anyone that asks or anyone that just gives me some positive feedback. I'll probably give you some shout outs because I really do appreciate it, you guys, and y'all are doing a lot for my channel, and having great support. It feels good. So if you've ever been patted on the back, it's happening for me quite frequently on here because of all you guys. So thanks, and I'll see you guys on the next review. Hope you enjoyed this review, and let me know what you think about the other videos that I'm thinking about doing. Anyways, I'm out, so enjoy your day.